Welcome back to Mirror Mirror. What's up, twin?
Twin.
Hi, my baby.
What's up, boo boo?
Chilling, chilling. It was a rough week. How was your week?
All
Yeah, I know. We were both like reset.
right, you know what? Let me get my cocktail. But yeah, the week was everything's fine. Everything is completely fine.
Everything is fine. There was no breakdowns,
No,
no 3-second crash outs, none
no,
of that, right?
none of it. I didn't throw one thing. Nope, it wasn't me.
Nope. I
Mm-mm.
didn't yell at nobody.
No,
It was a great week.
yeah.
But guys, welcome back to Mirror Mirror. Hope you all have enjoyed what we're bringing you so far. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different, than what you've listened for. It's a story that I want to share. It's not easy, but it's important. And the title of this episode is "The Mirror Was Cracked." So we're going to discuss a
Some
little
real
bit
shit.
deeper,
Some
some
real
real
shit.
shit. I was trying to think of the right wording, babe.
I got it.
You got it. It's real shit. you know, um, we titled it this one because I lost myself for 14 years. I was in a domestic violence relationship, changed everything about me. It changed who I was, how I saw myself, the way I was connected to people. For a long time, the mirror I was looking in, it cracked. Pieces of me were missing. I was isolated. I was alone. I was scared. I didn't have a lot of people, that I could reach out to. And it's kind of what we want to talk about with the absence of the friendship and it remaining as strong as it is. Will and I talked maybe 20 times in 14 years, and it was always secretive or through other people, and it was never, directly. And I live with a lot of regret for the things that I did miss. Fortunately, our friendship is real. And when you go through what I've went through, you learn the people that are true to you. They're going to still be in your corner no matter what. And I was blessed to have that with Twin. I'm blessed to have that with my best friend Jackie. I'm blessed to have that with my children, and I am blessed to have that, with my mom and family.
Rocking with her, and I know everyone got their own situation and stuff going through. Um, and as a true person, well, a true person, we're all true people, right?
Right.
Okay, what I was saying though is, not everything that you should take personal, especially when somebody's dealing with their own battles and going through their things. You got to give them their space and respect that. And throughout this journey with her, I seen how everything happened. I was there where it started. I was there through the middle, and I respected her boundaries and what she needed to go through and gave her space and everything. I know there's other people out there going through this, but I just hope that y'all find some type of avenue or some type of way to navigate through this because it can get scary and it's crazy and you don't know what someone else is going through because you're not going through it. You can't judge them on that. Most people would be like, I ain't effing with her no more or whatever the case is. And I know the real her and I knew she was gonna come back when she was ready, so
And yeah, I mean that's the thing about it. When you're in that situation, statistically, a victim, it takes 7 times before they leave for good. Up to 7 times before they leave for good. And I kind of felt like that's why I wanted to bring the story here, not only because it's an important topic and it's a topic that's not touched on as much as it should be touched on
right.
because you never know what somebody is hiding. I filtered through life for 14 years and I hid the fact that I was being abused at home from everybody. The only people that really truly knew what was happening were those that really knew me. But I went to work every day. I put a smile on my face. When I talked to certain people, I had to pretend like life was good. You cover up bruises and you pretend like you did have a full night's sleep. And it's important to share what's going on because if there's anybody, like you said, twin, that's going through the same thing, you're not alone. And I promise you, it's not your fault. And I can say that with confidence. from where I'm at now. It is not your fault. You may place the blame on yourself. I blame myself every day. I was like, if I did this, then that wouldn't have happened. Or if I was just better at this, then he wouldn't act like that. And it wasn't an issue within me. It was an issue within him. And it took me literally 14 years to accept. So, I mean, obviously, we're just giving you the cliff notes on what happened, but we can jump right into it. I met this man who is older than I am. He's like 12 years older than I was. I was young. I was impressionable. I was young. He was able to reel me all the way in and made me fall in love with him. And then I got pregnant. And yeah, I should have known, Swim, whenever you were the one taking me to doctor's appointments.
Yep. And for, and even in the beginning, I tried to pull her away from it, but you gotta let people
Yeah,
make their own decisions. And it wasn't my place, so I saw the situation, but I had to let her go. But I stayed close at the same time.
you did. I mean, he was close to my family and my mom and my aunt and a cousin of mine. So, like, he still had touches and he was still able to reach out and make sure that I was, at least somewhat okay. And I mean, I kind of juggled everything for the first 3 years. I juggled it, but then it just got worse. And I guess we'll just say the flags of him. It was my 25th birthday. We'll start at my 25th birthday. I called Will. I was in the bathroom and I was freaking out because this was the first time that he had assaulted me. And I remember Twin was trying his hardest, but I wouldn't tell him where I was at. I wouldn't. I just needed him to listen to me. And I know it broke his heart.
It did
I
because
know it
he was about to
did.
get it. He was about to get all of it. I'm telling you right now. But
and
I stood
and
down.
exactly. And after that instance, every day it just got worse. And it got worse and it got worse and it got worse. And I would say in the first 3 to 5 years, it went from mental abuse, the control part of it, is where he exercised the most control was mentally. I mean, there was physical abuse, yes, but it was not as common as the mental abuse. And I will tell you, if you're coming from an abusive relationship, it is not the physical that fucks you up. It is the mental. And I used to tell him all the time, I would rather you beat me till I was black and blue because bruises are going to heal. But that shit that you said to me, that's mental. And that doesn't go away. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm 4 years out of that relationship and I am in therapy. I still have the days that I can't look in the mirror, the days that I feel like I am worthless because you're with somebody for 14 years. And that whole time, they're beating you down every single day to make you smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's how your abuser controls you.
And,
Is
and
they take away your self-confidence and they take away your light and they turn you into a shell of a person. And
and
that's what I was.
and I'm gonna say this, twin. It's like for people that's listening. It's like no matter who you are, male, female, race, whatever. The manipulation, it goes far past what you can understand. Like it got to a point to where he even manipulated her to not even try to be around me because he made me seem like I was a problem, and I never was. I was always there, supportive, trying to help, but it made it seem like me and her had something going on, or it was just too much. It was like, wait,
It
what?
was so
This is
much.
like
And
this is
it,
like, and this is like a brother sister relationship. It's like,
yes,
no, what are you
nothing
talking about?
else. Yeah. And it was constant. Anytime his name was brought up, it was a problem. But it wasn't even him, you guys. It didn't matter. It was anybody. It was his cousins.
It was the
He would
mailman.
accuse
It
me
was the mailman,
any
like
male
crazy.
figure. Exactly. I was on time restraints. Like he knew how long it took me to get home from work. And if I wasn't at home within that time frame, I had stopped off and cheated. So like I would get off work and I would pray that there was no traffic because I already knew what I was walking into if there was traffic. I knew what type of night I was going to have. And that was part of the narcissistic behavior, not so much as the abusive behavior. The real deep parts of the abuse started probably in 2017. Like, he had always been abusive, but the real deep part started in about 2017. And there were other underlining issues, and I'm not going to discuss what those issues are because that is not my story to tell. But there were underlining issues, which led to him being more physical with me because he couldn't deal with his own issues. And the worst parts for me was at night. He would wake me up out of my sleep. He would assault me. He sexually assaulted me. It got bad. There were very, very bad, deep, dark moments. And the point that I wanted to make with this is that no matter what you think, guys, you're not alone. You're not alone. I know in that moment it feels like you're alone. I laid in that bed some nights and I would just cry and cry and I would pray. I would pray for God to take me away. I didn't want to live anymore because what am I living for? I'm living to be a punch bag. I'm living to suffer. And the thing I guess that kept me going the most was my babies, my kids. I I went through hell for them kids. And like you said, Twin, people are like, why can't you leave? You should leave. Well, you also develop Stockholm syndrome, guys. And if you all don't know what Stockholm syndrome is, it's a similar, it's I don't even know the exact definition, but Stockholm syndrome is basically where you love the abuse in a sense. I don't know, Twin. I should have looked up that definition.
It's probably you manipulated yourself to thinking that's how he shows love.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was, maybe. But you're attached to your abuser
It's
with
like
Stockholm
so
syndrome.
it's kind of like a well, if you don't act out, it means you don't care type shit, you know.
In a sense, yes. But that was what was love to me.
I got a
That's
question. I
what
got a
I
question for
saw.
you.
Yes.
So, like, as far as like your mental path, what was a lot of things that got you through that versus where you started in the relationship to where it ended? Like, what was the differences between that? Like, from when it first happened to where you said no more.
Oh, Lord, that's a layered question. I,
I mean, we mirror. Let's reflect. So,
let's reflect on it, of
so from
course.
from the beginning stages of you trying to sort it out, figure it out, like
The
what was happening.
beginning stages, we'll say the beginning, I was young, I was impressionable, and he was older. And, I just had this vision of what love was. And I thought that that was love. And I thought that this was absolutely normal because the people that I was around during that time, that was normal in their relationships. And then as I started to get older in my mental change, you got to think, guys, I was 23 years old. He was 35. And at 23, your brain is not fully developed. You're not fully developed until you're 25 years old. And at 23, here I am. I am in college and I've met this man and I've had his baby. And, I'm raising his two kids and my daughter. Overnight, I go from a baby and my 4 year old to now I've got all these kids. I've got four kids and a man, and we're living together. And I'm just moving along thinking this is life. And I was willing to just accept whatever it was that he gave me. And I loved him. Now that I know, I'm not going to ever say that I didn't love him. There was love. I loved him. I don't know if it was an infatuation. I don't know if it was lust more than love, but in my mind, I loved him. And this was good for me. And my daughter didn't have a dad. And I felt like I needed to be there for the kids. And a lot of the reason why I stayed was my oldest daughter. You guys, my oldest is not biologically mine, but I raised her. I got her when she was 6 years old, and I moved out of our home 10 days before she moved into her college dorm. So I'll say that was in the beginning was love or lust. I'm not sure, or my need to just save everybody because you know how I am. I want to save the world,
Right.
and I wanted to save them babies. I wanted to be there for them babies. And that was part of what kept me there, what made me leave. What was my breaking point? Our oldest started her senior year of high school, and that's when COVID hit. And now I don't know what part of the world everybody was in during COVID, but it shut down. You know that everything shut down.
Shit was happening.
Shit was happening. And, here I am in this home, and it gave him pretty much free reign. I didn't have to leave. I had to go to work, obviously, but, you were banned from seeing your family. And I went from seeing my parents every couple of days. And now COVID hit, and he had banned me from even seeing my mom and dad because he didn't want COVID to happen to our house. And so that's kind of what started. I was trapped during COVID, and I remember I got COVID towards the end. I think it was the Omicron one. I don't know. It was bad. I just know it was bad. I remember he had gotten COVID first. So obviously he gave me COVID. And then whenever it hit me, if you guys ever had COVID, the headache is the worst fucking headache in the world. I've never had a headache as bad as I had whenever I had COVID. And I remember laying on our living room floor, and I was so sick. I was so, so sick. And he wouldn't even get up to get me water or a Tylenol. He was just like, no, you need to stay away from me. And I had to wait on my dad, who was getting off of a 12-hour shift, to bring me Tylenol and water. And something clicked in that moment. I was like, I can't spend the rest of my life with this man. If something seriously happened to me medically, how can I trust him to raise these children? How can I trust him to take care of me? He's going to let me die. I mean, obviously, I wasn't dying, guys. It was just fucking COVID. But you didn't know. We thought COVID was a
Yeah,
death
he was just
sentence.
dying a little bit. It wasn't like
I
it.
was dying a little bit. I wasn't fully dead, just a little bit
Yes,
dead.
he was at like 80% charge. It's all good.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, so needless to say, after that day, and my dad's the one that came through for me, I had to go to the hospital because I couldn't breathe. Like my oxygen, guys, dropped down to like 73 or some shit. And it was like midnight that night, and I was so weak and I was so sick. Do y'all know this man did not even take me to the hospital? I had to get up and drive myself to the hospital. And I had to wait in that hospital until like 5 o'clock in the morning. And not one time did he bother to call to check on me, to ask if everything was okay. None of that. He didn't give a shit. And then whenever I got back out of the hospital, like he was like, you can go to the basement. I don't even want you around me. I slept downstairs in our basement on our couch for like 3 weeks. And I was completely alone. And then whenever, the COVID stuff started to ease up a little bit, and the kids went back to school and all of that stuff, that's when everything just got worse and worse and worse. I'd say the last month and a half of my relationship with him, I slept on Alana's bedroom floor. Because if my daughter was there, he wouldn't physically hurt me as bad. I'm going to say as bad. It wasn't as bad when she was home.
That's crazy.
So it got to that point where I restricted the kids. And I live with a lot of guilt. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't, you all. I live with so much guilt on how I was. I feel like I robbed them of so much because I was being abused, and my fear of being in that house alone with him outweighed anything else, like with my daughter. And like I said, he wasn't as physical when she was there. So it's like when he would suffocate me with a pillow in the middle of the night, or he was choking me, or whatever it was. As soon as I was able to get free, I would run into her room and I would sleep on her floor because I knew he wasn't going to bother me. And then I would lay there in the morning and not make a sound until I heard him walk out the door. And then I would get up and I would get my kids up, and, we would start our day, and I'd get them on the bus, and then I would go to work. And all day long at work, I would pray because I didn't know if I was going to go home to the nice, lovable narcissists, if they can be, because narcissists are not lovable, nice people. But some days were better than others.
Yeah, they're chameleons. I mean, that's what they for. They blend in.
Exactly. That's what they do. And I would spend all day at work, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to go home tonight? And mind you guys, I'm sleeping on my daughter's floor because I'm going to bed at a normal time. But like I'm falling asleep, let's say 11 o'clock at night, but he's waking me up out of my sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning wanting to fight about shit that didn't even exist. It wasn't even real stuff. Like you're making shit up in your head. just to pick an argument with me, and that's going on for an hour. And by the time I'm getting comfortable on this floor, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got to be up and out the door by 7:30 a.m. So I'm working with no sleep. And I guess the final straw, though, after the COVID thing, was over this summer. It was before I don't want to say her name. It was before my oldest was going off to college, and she was going to move into her dorm. Because I remember the weekend before we went dorm shopping and we got all the fun shit for the dorm.
Right, right.
And something happened and we had gotten into it. And I don't remember the full argument. I know that he woke me up. You know the tall fans that oscillate, like the ones that we always take on trips with us?
Yep.
So the tall fans that oscillate, he got mad about this fan that morning when he was getting up for work. And he took that fan and just fucking threw it at my head. And I got up and I fought back. I fought back. He tackled me down on the floor, and I remember he had his hand over my mouth and he was pushing my nose up. And with my free hand, I was punching into his back like I was fighting him, y'all. And it took 14 years. And I remember when he finally got off of me and he left, I was sitting there on the floor and I remember I was just shaking. And my daughters ran in the room, both of my girls. Thank God my son was asleep, but both of the girls ran in, and one of them, she just graduated high school. Excuse me, she's going to college. My other one's starting her junior year of school, and she was like, they were in there packing my bags for me, and they were both like, if you don't leave, he's gonna kill you. Like, how much more of this are you gonna take?
Yeah, that's wild.
And
It's
that was
wild.
my final straw. I called my dad and I was like, I'm coming over. And he was like, are you coming for a night? What are you doing? I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. We're done now. It's over. And I was done. And, back to the narcissistic behavior, I moved out and I took the dogs, I took the kids. My oldest moved into her college dorm. Like, all ties were done. We were done. And of course, guys, I was the bad guy. I'm the horrible one that broke his heart, and I'm the one that ruined everything, and I was the one that was cheating and lying, and I was a drug addict. Like, he called my dad and told my dad I was a drug addict, guys. I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs. Okay, well, I smoke weed, but I don't consider that a fucking
We
drug.
don't do drugs. Drugs do me.
But guys, I'm not a drug addict, and I am a good mom. I've always been a good mom. I pride myself on being a good mom.
Yeah, for sure.
And I pride
You are the
myself
best.
on Thank you. And I pride myself on how well I've raised my kids in the environment in which I had to raise them.
And
I've
y'all
done
meet and
really
like
fucking good.
if y'all ever, if you was to meet these kids, you would never know that they went through this. Like, I don't know what magical potion you pulled over this family, but the way they turned out and what they do and how protective they are of you, they do not play no games about their mama. And they just like they're not an element of their environment, you know?
They're
It's like an unspoken thing. It's like they talk with their eyes. It's like, no, this is where you got me fucked up at. And they've really owned it. And I love that about y'all. Like, dude, watching them grow up, it's like both of them, I done seen them born, everything. Dude, these kids don't play. And
they're good
they're
kids.
so intelligent and look what the things they are accomplishing and doing. It's like most people in these situations don't have that outcome.
They don't, and one thing that was really, really firmly implanted with at least the girls. My thing with the girls was I never wanted them to be like I was. I never wanted them dependent on a man. I never wanted them to feel like they could be nothing without a man or financially secure without a man, none of that. And it's like I beat education into their heads. And I beat responsibility. And they both had jobs at 14 and they both were stacking money and they both bought their first cars. And, they did everything right. And I pride myself so much on that. They both are in college on scholarships. I have one that's going to be a nurse, I've got one that's going to be a teacher. And I got my son out of that environment his seventh grade year in middle school. And he acted out real bad his seventh grade year. I mean, there were days I would call Twin. I'm like, I'm going to kill him. Like, I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to raise a boy. What am I doing? Is this normal? Because his dad is, and it's a shame to say we're not together anymore. I think he sees his son once every 3 or 4 months, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know how often they talk. My kid has his own cell phone, so I don't know how often he talks to his dad. But I don't have communication with his father at all. I have nothing to say to him. His dad didn't even know where I lived for almost a year. So whenever I moved out of that environment, my son was getting in trouble at school. It was a lot going on, but something changed during his eighth grade year, and I'm so proud of him. He's a student athlete and he's a hell of a football player. He just actually got ranked in our state as a top 10 player. So
Hey,
okay,
come on, Nelf.
go to, yes, my stinker butt. Like, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of my kids, and I'm proud that I was able to do what I did in the situation that I had. And like I mentioned earlier, I have guilt. I have so much guilt. And my therapist tells me all the time, that's what I have to work on is the guilt. I've got to forgive myself and I've got to give myself grace. And I try to do that. But I mean, there are days that it does sneak up on you. Like I said, I had a rough week this past week and I had a mentally rough week this past week. So in my healing journey, I still have those times. I still have those times that I don't want to get out of bed. I still have those times that I don't want to look in the mirror. I still have those times where I don't want to leave my house. And it's part of your healing. I developed PTSD from being in that relationship. And it mentally fucked me up. And I will never, ever discredit that. I am mentally fucked up from being in that relationship.
And I'm
And
gonna say something real quick, twins. Like for or for anyone who's listening, a lot of people kind of put that to the side and because they don't have time to listen to that, or if you're in a situation it's like I don't want to keep hearing about something that you don't keep going back to, type of deal. And I mean, I get it and I understand it, but at the same time, you gotta be able to listen because sometimes no one wants your advice. They just need to vent to you and just talk, get that off. Because regardless if they're going to go back or not, that's not your call to make, and it's none of your business. But to be that ear for someone, that's actually a big step for somebody. For somebody to even spill that out to you,
it really is. It takes a lot to go to a person and be like, I am not okay. And that is one thing I will say. There are like 3 or 4 people in my life that were that for me, Will being one of them.
because anybody else be like, "You a dumb bitch," all this shit, but you don't
And
know what the fuck you're
I
going
went through
through.
that.
It's like
I went through
that's
that. Yeah, I went through that with people that I thought were my friends. I went with that through people in my family. I went through that, like, well, why are you crying about it? It ain't gonna make a difference. You're just gonna go right back. Like, I've been through that. And you guys, if you all have somebody in your life that is going through it, just be an ear. Just be an ear because that might be all that person needs that day. They just need to call and they need to
be an
cry and
ear
they
and
need to
be ready.
vent.
Be an ear and be ready.
Yes, and pretty much like my friend Jackie. She's so fucking amazing. I absolutely love her. She rode with me hard. Like Will, she understood the boundaries. Like with her, I was allowed to talk to her because she's female. I was allowed to talk to her. It was never an issue, but I had set times that I was allowed to talk to her. I can only talk to her on my way to work or on my way home from work.
Then
Once I
you
hit that
then,
door,
then you got me. It's like, do you want me to cut the brakes tonight or tomorrow?
right?
It's like we can do this. Like
It was definitely a loath thing. Will hated him, and now that it's all said and done, I hate him too, and I hate the person that he made me. But I'm on the other side of it. I will never, you guys will never, and I mean never ever hear me refer to myself as a victim. I am not a victim. I am a 14-year domestic violence survivor. And I did walk away with scars, and I have walked away with more mental issues than you guys can even realize. Like, I have fucking OCD. I suffer from PTSD. Like, I have insomnia. I don't sleep because all of my trauma happened at night. So I do still survive in fight or flight. And there's a book. I don't know if any of you guys read or you're into psychology or anything like that. There is a book out there, and I will link it in this podcast. I will link it on our, what are we on, Twin? YouTube? I'll link it on our YouTube for this episode, guys. It's a book. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And anybody that's been through a domestic violence or any form of trauma, the book explains to you how your body keeps the score. It explains to you what your body's doing in response to trauma. And it's definitely something that I highly recommend for anybody to read that's been through any sort of trauma.
Oh, and then going back to for the listeners who don't know what Stockholm syndrome is, it is a psychological response in which hostages or abuse victims develop positive feelings toward their captors or abusers. This can manifest in sympathy, affection, or even a sense of loyalty to the abuser, while simultaneously experiencing distrust, negativity towards those trying to help them. It's a complex survival strategy that can develop in situations of captivity or abuse. So I know a lot of y'all be able to relate with that, whatever form, whatever shape that looks like to you, whatever color. Just know it's pretty much in the same pot. It's all the same.
Thank you for looking up the definition
Go
because,
Google. Go Google.
like, hey, let's get it. Oh my goodness. But yes, thank you for looking that up. So yeah, that's Stockholm syndrome. So again, back to just being an ear, you guys. If you know somebody that's in this and you baby ain't talked to them in a while, send them a text. How you doing? Are you doing all right? Because nothing's worse than when that person's on that island. They're fucking alone. And if they choose you to be that person, sometimes you got to be that person. Don't get mad at them because you don't agree with their choices.
And coming from somebody like this, like 1,000% based off of love, this is for your big sisters, your big brothers, your little sisters. I mean, of course, we all want to turn up on somebody that's hurting a family member or something, but sometimes, you
That's
can
the
only,
worst thing to do.
you can only do so much because in the end, the victim actually holds the power. And where the judgment is clouded at is that the victim don't even know the power that they do have. So us as family members and friends, we be trying to overstep our boundaries and step in and then get mad at that person for going back. Somebody, you come over, you packing up, helping them move out, get all this stuff, you done with this person, da da da, and then 3 days later you back with them and now you mad at the victim because they didn't went back. And so now y'all have a tarnished relationship because I'm like, I'm not fucking with you no more. You doing dumb shit, whatever. That's not. It's not even about
And,
them.
and
It's not about
exactly. And
you.
that happened.
It's
That
not about
happened.
you.
Exactly. And that happened. You remember you helped me move out.
Yeah.
He helped me move out once. Like, we've been there. We did that. And this last time I knew it was different whenever I left. And I remember even calling you whenever I left. And I waited. I waited almost a whole month, you guys, after I left, before I even told Will I left.
Yep.
Because I wanted it to be 100% for sure I was done. I was not going back. And I didn't want to call him and give him that false hope. Like, okay, I left.
And I not
No, I
one and
waited.
I not once judged you on it. It was like,
No,
yeah,
never. And that
well,
is one thing
whatever.
I will
Are you
say.
good? You
Yes.
good? You sure? Okay.
Yeah, you never ever judged me and you were always there to support me. And
Anyway, you want to go to Waffle House? What's up?
even though, a lot of my guilt too, not only with my kids, is what I missed out on other people's lives being gone for 14 years. You miss out on a whole lot of stuff. And thankfully with Will, I'm getting that back. I'm relearning things about him and of his family and his husband and his son and
And how fucked up I am. My turn.
right. 3 second crash out. But I don't know, you guys. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know when you're in the island and you're alone, I promise you, it may not seem like it's going to be okay. And it may be scary to take that leap forward. But sometimes taking that leap is going to be the best thing for you. I promise that. And you guys are not alone. I will link all of my socials to this podcast as well. If you guys don't follow us, on our TikTok or our Instagram or our YouTube, please do. All of that will be linked, in our description on this. Make sure you follow us. And I am an advocate for domestic violence, you guys. I'm an advocate for domestic violence. I'm an advocate for PTSD. I was going to say the whole thing. Fuck that. The acronym PTSD. I'm an advocate for all of that, and I'm an ear. I'm an ear. And I do want to let you all know before, we jump into song of the day that there are resources out there. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, you can call the Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233 or visit thehotline.org. You can also text the word START, START, to 88788. You're not alone. And you guys are worth so much more than that situation you're in. I promise. You are important. You are meant to be here. You are not the problem. I guarantee you guys that.
And if that don't work, beat that bitch with a
Mhm.
bat.
Or a fucking frying pan. You can go Armadillo on them
Yeah,
for
on his
real.
fucking shit. But all right,
Fuck
y'all,
it.
we're gonna get into the vibe of the day. Go ahead and throw it in there, twin.
All right, guys. So this song really actually, this whole episode is personal to me, including song of the day. This song is called Myself by Layton Greene. It's a reminder to always love yourself first. I actually got this tattooed on my rib whenever I left my relationship as a reminder to never, ever, ever not love myself again.
I remember feeling like I wasn't good enough. Had me questioning myself, I wasn't sure enough. Had me looking in the mirror, trying to analyze my figure. I ain't perfect, you weren't perfect, so that figures. You always put me in a bad place. Said we were moving at a fast pace. It was all my fault. I fell in love too hard. I loved you when I didn't love myself. Yeah, yeah. Said you loved me, but you only loved yourself. You rocked me so hard, you played all your cards right. You played with my heart, I might not be the same way. You were walking in the door, you wasn't saying hi. You were walking out the door, you wasn't saying bye-bye. Seems like you only got that way when things ain't go your way. Ooh, how could you tell me that you love me and behave this way? Sometimes I don't know how I survived. You picked me up, you threw me in the sky. And when I fell, you let me hit the ground. Yeah, I still felt alone with you around. I learned my lesson, yeah, shit got hectic, but all in all the experience, it was a blessing, yeah. You taught me patience, can't skip the basics. Seems like you only wanted me for that sensation, yeah. I remember all the lies, all the nights you made me cry, yeah. Or you control my mind, had me wishing I would die, yeah. You would never know how I gave my heart to you, my love was real, baby. But you didn't love me, you didn't love me. I loved you
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope that reached a lot of people, or just the vibe of it. So just know that you are not alone. There's always there's more. Believe it or not, there's actually more of us out there. So that's scary.
There's lots of us.
But
That is scary.
but at the same time, you're welcome.
Yeah, we're a gift.
You
Look at
know
it.
that.
We're vain. We're such fucking Capricorns. It's really crazy. And you guys stay strong, stay safe, always, 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 always. And um, again, check out those resources. I will also link these resources into the description of this podcast on all of our platforms. And Twin, next week it's exciting. Next week, you guys, we got guests.
Oh,
We're
yep.
gonna have some guests.
We're doing more dumb shit on
We're
purpose.
doing more dumb shit on purpose. We're gonna bring in two very special guests. We're gonna bring in Will's husband Kevin, and we are gonna bring in my honorary son Josiah, and we are gonna discuss what it is like to be black and bold in America.
We're gonna see how this goes. So get ready, y'all buckle up, clean your mirror off, and stay reflecting.
Stay in the mirror, you guys.
Keep it beaming. Love you.
Till next week. Bye bye.
Bye.